Yeah, sorry about that, Andy. I think that's my computer that is old.
Stone Age computer. Just kidding.
Okay, so we'll wait a couple more minutes and see if anybody else comes, and then we'll start the official part of the meeting. It's great to see all of you here.
Quite big. This is larger than the last meeting.
Great to be here.
Ditto.
Yo, AJ.
Hey.
How you doing? Can hear you.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Loud and
I
clear.
know we're about to start the meeting in a minute, but I did want to I know there's once you hit a certain amount of subscribers on YouTube for our TZM official channel, then you get access to YouTube Studios and have them all over the world, Los Angeles and across the world.
Wait, can you say that again?
Try to see if we've hit that number yet of subscribers. I was trying to look into it. Have them all
Just
over
thought I'd bring it up.
No, how many subscribers is that?
I was trying to look in to see how many we need because I thought we were close. But, it would be a great resource, obviously.
So how long are we gonna wait?
Perhaps just like another minute.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll remind everybody because people are still joining us. Welcome, welcome everybody. So we chat, text chat in the thread right above this room. It's called Invoice Chat, and there you can find. I'll share it again. A link to the assembly notes, which is where we write our progress report. I highly recommend that everybody write at least one sentence of how they've been progressing in raising awareness about the train of thought and demarketizing. And yeah, and writing your name on the list would also be very nice because that way we have some sort of record of how many people participated and Okay, so if you guys want, we can start. This is an open access assembly of the Zeitgeist movement, and I would say 2.0. The biggest difference that we are with the previous, well, the Zeitgeist movement used to be, is that we are much more. Sorry. So I don't know where I lost connection. Okay, so this is the open access assembly of the Zeitgeist Movement 2.0. 2.0 is the fact that we now are much more inclusive to other initiatives and movements and activities that work towards a shared world of abundance. So welcome everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mark. And also to read more about TZM 2.0 of what he just mentioned, in the initiative voice chat, the little server bot just gave a little small explanation about what TZM 2.0 is supposed to mean.
So when we have a lot of people in the meeting, what we try to do is we like people to ask for turns to speak. A little bit of organic chat is fantastic, but we do our best to try to ask for our turn. So we can do that either in the chat, the info chat, or we can do that as well in the meeting notes. There's a section for that, and then what that basically means is that if you've written your name down there, and you can basically feel free to interrupt people if there are a lot of people, because what happens often is that some people are less shy and they occupy, they speak more freely, and then whoever's written their name down can feel free to kind of interrupt and speak. So what we do at these assemblies, there's three parts of these assemblies that objectives. One of them is to write down the progress report. So I recommend that if anyone hasn't yet, there's a section in the assembly notes which is for progress report. And the idea is that we write a couple sentences at least of what we've been doing to raise awareness about these ideas, the train of thought, and to demarketize. So the other objective of these meetings is to discuss topics that we've had in mind that we want to speak about with everybody else. The other objective is to ask for help to the team, so that we will do that afterwards. Everybody can ask the team to help them with a specific initiative that they have, preferably as simple as tasks as possible that everybody can do in a matter of minutes is what we prefer, and that because then we can expect that people can do it. And the other thing is if we have an initiative that we need help with, and like we want people to join an initiative or a project, this is also a place to present our project and to ask for anybody if anybody wants to participate. Okay, so okay, liberate mankind. Sure. I think okay, we will do that after we've done the items in the agenda already. Actually, I can give you my spot if you want, because I add things well, I'll just do mine really quickly, and then
You cut out, Mark.
okay, so I'll go right ahead and do mine real quickly, and then we can maybe jump to yours if Cliff is okay with that, because he has something that he wanted to discuss as well. So there's this initiative that I've been working on for a while. Some of us have been working on. It's something that we started here at the assembly about a year ago, and we were coming up with a way to be able to communicate at a distance, to show support for the movement in photos or when we were on stage. Mostly that, or at a distance, right? So the idea is that we can use a symbol, which is the C. So the C with our hand is for a shift to the commons. It's to support. That's basically it is that we support a shift to the commons, and we promote a shift to the commons, and that's a simple way to show that. So it's a simple thing. It's that we can recommend each other to do, to take photos of other people, of ourselves, to put it up on social media, doing the C, and then teach people that is to show support for shift to the commons, and then we can spread that idea, and that way we can easily promote the train of thought with just an image. So that's basically all I wanted to say. Someone raised their hand. Okay. I saw someone raise their hand in the video. I'm not sure who that is. I'll add you to the list. Speakers queue.
That was me. Just to say, if everybody else, while they're not speaking, if they could mute themselves, because there's a lot of background noise coming from other terminals. If everyone could mute themselves if they're not speaking, it'd cut down on the background noise.
Yeah, Oracle, we can hear you typing on your keyboard very harshly.
Yes, go ahead.
I just actually listed here. I just tagged your name in the post in the international voice chat text room, and there I linked your name next to those very notes that you're asking for.
Yes, Cliff. I see that you put your name in the link in the speakers queue. Do you want to? Is that for the topics that you want to share, or is it about the C sign?
It has to do about some announcements I have to make about the server, among some other stuff. But I'll just simply wait a little bit later until everyone else is settled in, and perhaps some other people would like to speak first. So I have no problem in waiting a little bit.
Does anybody have any questions about the C sign?
Don't. I'm just kidding. I don't really know either. But did you get to the notes? There's a link. If you click INT voice chat above the voice international thing, then you'll get to the chat. And then you'll see the link. There's some.
It's at the very bottom. If you scroll down the very bottom, especially I actually noted your name next to the latest one, like right now, for example. No problem. My pleasure. Der link, the server admin. Yes, yes. Well, most people, even hearing a German accent, affiliate that to being robotic anyway. So, so well, thank you. So who does anybody else? I mean, I want to announce something, but does somebody else want to go first? Perhaps who else has something to say? The Brandon.
Is it okay if I go first?
Oh yeah, it was AJ. Yes, please do so, sir.
So right now, I created a Facebook page of the one in all of Wisconsin. I've talked to one of the admins of another Facebook page, and hopefully that person is here. I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but anyways, hopefully we can get up and running soon. So within a week, maybe we'll get everything situated. And second, is pertaining to you, Cliff. My computer's either coming this week or next week, so we can get something going on with your series. That's all I have.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Yeah, that's all I have.
AJ, do you think you could like write that in a sentence and I will copy it to the progress reports? That would make it really easy for us to share that with others.
Yeah, so do you want me to put the notes into that document?
Yeah, if you put it directly into that document, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. As soon as I log out, I'll do that. Because right now I'm speaking on my phone is kind of, difficult.
Oh,
to do
okay.
both. So
Well, if you write it in the like to me direct message or in the invoice chat, I will copy paste it there if you want. So
okay, yeah,
Liberate
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Liberate Mankind asked earlier in the text chat if he could speak a few minutes about the Money Free Party. So if that's okay, we'll let him do that now.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, I don't know, maybe it's just at my end, but my sound has not been great. It's been in and out. So are you able to hear me okay when I'm speaking at the moment?
That's fine.
I'll carry on. Just let me know in some way if I break up. So yeah, the reason I asked to just have a couple of minutes was that myself and a group of other people in the UK have been trying to resurrect the Money Free Party. I mean, most of you probably know that the Money Free Party has already existed for a while, but it sort of fell dormant in the UK, and we're resurrecting it. And so, beginning with a website, and then using the website to try and recruit a membership, and then using the membership to start actually doing things on the ground and having a way of pointing to them. Well, listen, I won't waste your time. I'll back to you. It's on the website. But I did want to bring up the notion of commons because it's language that we've been using quite extensively on the website, and I'm really glad to hear it here because it's something that is putting off some people on the Facebook, on the Money Free Party Facebook group. This vocabulary of using the commons as the sort of container in which human activity takes place, a sort of non-transactional container in which human activity takes place. And so that's very much the language and the framing that we're using. And so it is a political party and trying to use grassroots activity as a platform to eventually run in the general election, and to use the general election as a megaphone and a platform to shout, RBE type ideas from. I don't know if any of you are from the UK, but the situation is that if we can get 120 people standing for Parliament, that entitles us to party political broadcast, right? National network party political broadcast. So you couldn't really ask for a bigger megaphone or a bigger platform to shout from with it. So that's very, very brief. I don't want to take up time. There's 12 of you here. I'm sure you've all got stuff to say, so I don't want to take up a massive amount of your time. But really, please do go and take a look at it. We put a lot of work into this website, not to mention a fair bit of money. The group of us, we're amateurs, but we're enthusiastic amateurs, and we want to make a really serious attempt at getting this to work. And so any encouragement from you guys, taking a look at the site, signing up, becoming members, starting a chapter, contributing some content to the website, contributing articles to the blog, all of this kind of stuff, all of this is really useful contributions. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of reaching out to the TZM group on Discord for anyone that is willing to, take a look at the website, familiarize themselves a little bit with it, sign up, get in touch, get involved in the meetings that we have a couple of times every week, all of this kind of stuff. And start taking some action in the world. So that's the idea. Step number one: build a membership, use those capacities to start doing stuff. Right, that's it. I'm done. Unless anyone wants to ask anything, in which case I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, can I go? Do you guys mind if I go?
Yeah, please.
That's very good. It's great to hear from you, and I think we definitely need obviously a political dimension to things to take our next step as a movement, as a global movement, not just the zeitgeist movement, but the movement towards sustainability, more democratic processes, and obviously overcoming poverty and all the basic fundamental rights that we're all working towards. So yeah, I think we need obviously a political dimension to this thing. So it's great to hear from you about it, and not just to get up there and shout these ideas out either, but to I really want us to get to a point where we can start drafting legislation literally and writing some of these principles and legalizing sustainability and gutting some of the corrupting mechanisms in politics that corrupt our governance process to even affect change. So it'd be great to get to a point where we can start drafting some stuff up and implementing this stuff. I'm not really familiar with the processes over there, but it's not too far off, obviously. So yeah, good to hear.
Yeah, and I'll just throw in there really quickly that the Zeitgeist movement is not a political party and is not necessarily endorsing any particular parties or whatever. However, I mean, the most important thing is that we're basically promoting a common cause, And so therefore, I mean, the networking and the, for example, connecting and being whatever help that we can be for each other, because this isn't about basically a whole bunch of whatever branding or whatever. I mean, we're all basically in the sense in the same team, perhaps just on different revenues, or not different revenues, but like different nervous levels, I guess you would say, on trying to make global sustainable post scarcity actions happen. So I mean, it's very cool. And the money-free parties exist in many different forms in different countries. Like in Austria, I mean, you have the bedingungslose Grundeinkommen thing. How do you say again in English? The universal basic income, which is a very powerful thing in Germany and in Switzerland and Austria right now, and I think even in Finland. So I mean, it's basically on a very similar route than the money-free party. So I think it's very cool to hear that this is also picking up a lot of momentum in the UK right now too. So thanks for sharing, I want to say.
Yeah, and for
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I put your name on the list, Denise, because you asked to speak a few minutes ago. Go
Sorry
ahead.
about that.
Can I just suggest, please, that you actually read the content of the website, because everything you're saying is absolutely in line with what's actually on there, right? It's not a political party to try and take power. It's a political party to try and use the existing levers and systems to dismantle it, right, and to create something better. It's not about assuming the reins and taking over and imposing a new set. It's not about that at all. I would really ask, really please read it, because I think you'll find a lot there that you like based on what you just said. Distributed.
Liberate, it's great to meet you. I'm really glad that you're here. I watched your talk like a month ago, but I think it was a talk that you gave a couple of years ago of how to give public speeches, I think, and how to actually get out there and raise awareness. I really, really like that talk. So it's great to meet you. And the other thing is, I will consider that a call to group task, and so I will put it in the next call to action. Okay, I will because we can't formally promote a political party, I guess. I instead of just a direct call to action, I will say consider visiting the Money Free Party UK, signing up, and consider participating in it. Okay.
How are you?
Please post it in the int voice chat, and we can also add to the links. We have a link section of the notes. So thank you for your comments, but we also try to keep these meetings constructive. So I agree with a lot of what you said. At the same time, I also really okay. So yes, Cliff, do you?
Yeah, so if nobody else has anything to say, I have quite a bit of stuff to share, and I can even just give a small response to Denise, which basically falls in line with some of her concerns and whatnot, and especially like at the very beginning of what you were saying. Let me just make sure though, does anybody else have anything they want to share first?
There's Andy on the list. I don't know if he wants to speak to this topic or he wants to present a new topic.
Andy, if you want to go, because I do have some really, I do have quite a bit and some very important stuff to say that affects us here in Discord. So if you want to talk first, please be my guest.
Might not want to take part or support or anything with a political party, but so long as what someone's putting forward isn't going to be a PR disaster, I think you just need to take an approach of encouraging people in what they like to do and just support them on with it. You don't need to always try and keep a positive outlook of just, say, yeah, go and do it as a default. A default yes is always a good approach to take.
Yeah. Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say about the political stuff. This is part of the new 2.0 stuff that we need to tease out for people, because a lot of the RBE kind of traditional thinking, early TZM movement was very taboo to be political and to even think politics could work. It was like taboo, it's a broken system. But now we need to be able to bridge these principles. It's not like we're starting a party or anything, but the political legal order is where structural change is implemented. I mean, as a structuralist movement who wants to implement certain structural changes and mechanisms towards an RBE, needs to be able to implement it into law, and the political order is that mechanism. So it's you can know. 1 second, you're being rude. You're being rude by interrupting. You know, we respect you and let you speak, but you're actually being a little bit rude. You're actually being a little rude. I'm gonna let you address me. I just wanted to finish my point real quick, okay?
Please let Brandon finish, please.
Yeah, it's so. Just the last thing I wanted to say is just that we can know it's flawed, but yet still utilize it and utilize these avenues for transition as opportunity presents itself. That's all.
male way of doing things, they're not spontaneous, and spontaneous is more a feminine thing. And I know that you guys are doing a great job, but when somebody has an idea, how it works more smoothly is like, I just want to interject very quickly to what that point was that Brandon said, so that I would not have to keep it in my mind, and then my mind would be free to listen to what Brandon has to say. Otherwise, I'm thinking of, I've got to remember what to say, you know.
I got you. No, totally.
Yeah, so it's more fluid. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got you. I think they're trying to run a tighter meeting here, though. They're trying to like run a tight meeting here, so I'll step aside for now.
Yeah, and that's another thing, it's always about time. But see, we also have a flow, but I just want to point that out. That's all. I know it takes up time, but that's, you know, why are we hurrying? Why are we hurrying? I don't know how much. Why are we hurrying? That's a good question.
Well,
I've got all the time in the world for this.
Yeah, we can always talk after. Yeah.
No, but why are we hurrying? Why? See, that's something in our culture that we've always got to, time is the only thing. Maybe, I don't know how much time have we got that everybody agrees to, and maybe there's some people who want to go further, that they've got time to go, I've got all night because this is very important to me, and I can make it like that. But I mean, not everybody can do that.
There are definitely moments for like gentle sharing, and there's definitely moments for urgency and seizing the day. And we're very busy as a movement and have a lot of things going on, a lot of things that need to be realized, a big year ahead of us. But yeah, there's definitely those moments to just kind of share and just not rush for sure. So I'll step aside though, let you guys do.
Yeah, and now I remember what I want to say to Brandon. It's instead of being so, what we've got to learn to do is to coexist if we want to learn how to be equal. And so what we should do is, yes, if you want, I always think you go to where your heart's desire, and where we can overlap in parts, like with AJ's idea of the commons, that really overlaps with what I'm suggesting. And I'm suggesting a whole new template. And so that's why it hasn't been done before. But that's what we've got to offer people. But it's also, there's people at different phases. And so AJ, that's where his passion lies, and that's where he should go. But we can still influence each other, because we got to take each other further, you know. Anyway, that's just that's all I have to say about that at that point.
Thank you, Denise. Cliff, do you want to speak the subject that you had in mind in the beginning?
Yes, I do. And I mean, so basically, I mean, what I also want to say say in the beginning is that, especially since Denise is speaking a lot about things of like more feminine approaches, or like trying to basically understand that type of flow, so to say, I think you would take a lot of interest, especially in the last global event that the Zeitgeist movement had held here in Reykjavik in Iceland, by a head geologist scientist, Kristín Vala Ragnarsdóttir. She was doing quite a interesting presentation that's now available online, where she spoke about, for example, the if I recall correctly, the 36 economic thinking, where basically she's a part of all sorts of people, from politicians, scientists, to feminists, or whoever, to try and basically balance the, how should I say, basically balance out the the teamwork equation or the community as far as like decision making is going to include more women basically into the sphere. And whether anyone wants to be in denial of it at all, even here in the Zeitgeist movement, I mean, we have been a very male-dominated movement, not entirely and not completely, but I mean, it is something that is important to be addressed. So I mean, what Denise says also makes sense to me. I'll just say that one of the reasons why we have we have like a very strict type plan basically when we do like these presentations or when we do these announcements is simply because we're all coming from all parts of the world. I am in Iceland, some people are in North America, some in Asia, and when we have just like this one time that we actually can pull off being together in one room right now, perhaps we have to use that kind of if you will, masculine style of communicating, because we have just this short time to be together before this chaotic system that's whatever, if we purposely or if we just like unknowingly keep ourselves in this vicious circle where we're kind of unfortunately very codependent by it, and so therefore we have this much time to communicate, say our points, and then we have to dispatch. Although afterwards, after when this formal meeting is finished, we have like an open floor for speaking with each other and talking into very big depth things basically. So that's something I definitely want to say in response. And also the technocratic parts, or basically that we have all this technology or whatever. I think you're very on point with that as well, because the thing is that I think a very big misconception, a big problem about the Zeitgeist movement is that we had in the very beginning of the movement's foundation such a very strong emphasis on technocratic principles, if you ask me, or basically a I don't know if one would say even a very unhealthy relationship with trying to understand science and to making it more of a cult rather than a more useful utensil and accessible piece of knowledge to help us better our understanding in our lives or whatnot. That's kind of a mouthful, and I perhaps could formulate the sentence a lot better. But I think what we have come to realize is that, yeah, we have the technology that's all around us right now to enable a post-scarcity economy, natural or resource-based economy, what you will. But basically, this type of thinking, this train of thoughts, or if you will, or basically understanding these essential problems of this value system. It's a distortion of a value system that we have that is hindering us from using the technology we have, or even that we are without right now, whatever you wish, to basically make a great society of well-being accessible for all people, all genders, or whatever. And I mean, basically, that's even taking Christine Vala's words, because she's the one who uses that word well-being a lot, and I completely agree with her. So, and that's the very big key point about TZM 2.0. It's been splurted a few times in the channel, and Brandon was speaking about it, is that basically we can't be playing games and be excluding ourselves basically from all these people or other groups or whatever, because they say, oh, whatever, they're not TZM, they're not TVP, or oh, they don't understand the scientific method as I or Jack Fresco or whoever understood it, so therefore this is a relevant having conversation with you or contact. It's like that's I think that's extremely dangerous, because we are all in this together. And there's really no more time to waste, because if you look on the ecological, the economic, or basically just the stress level basically of how we are right now, and where we are going to be in a few years or whatever. I mean, it doesn't look so nice, but I'm very actually optimistic, and I'm positive then that we're able to make changes. And also with all these different people, political parties, science movements, human rights movements, even people that just have like some maybe more unorthodox belief systems, but in the end are also wishing the best for all humankind. I think there are bridges for all of us to connect and to collaborate basically. And there are different approaches, different ways to get a hold of these people. And, you know, if it never happens, then it's worth dying for, because, you know, also another word from Christine Vala is that what would I tell my grandchildren, my grandchildren, if I just didn't try? What was the point then? So I'll leave it at that for now, because that was just some very inspiring stuff that came to mind that Denise was mentioning that I think we can catch on to a little bit later. But basically, the important stuff that I have to talk about is that there is some really there's some big stuff to talk about in regards with the Discord meeting. This is my prime announcement that I wanted to make. And also, I'm sorry I'm taking much time with speaking. This is why I want to speak last, if that's cool. So the big announcement basically is that we have just finished doing the maintenance with the Discord server right now, which is the very program we are using. This is going to be at least the maintenance that's finished for the very first part of the year right now. And now what I want to mention is that we have a brand new bot. Well, it's actually not a new bot. He's actually been around for a while, but he's been deactivated. Or he's only been activated for just a very minute certain causes. So if you're looking on a desktop and you look to your right side, you'll notice that we have a new movement activist, Carlbot. So what he is that he is a programmed bot here on the Discord server, who basically is going to also be helping us all out a lot in the future. So basically, his prime role is to auto moderate. So if he detects any kind of some kind of vulgar words, or if he detects any kind of some kind of hostile kind of vocabulary being used in the server, if he notices spamming, or if basically if there's like some kind of a thing that is spamming the server, it's able to detect this immediately without, for example, if there's a mod or a moderator not available, that it will be able to detect and get rid of, or not get rid of, but basically just warn or maybe just temporarily deactivate the user from doing any kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's not perfect. So Woody and I were testing it for over 5 hours the other evening, and we were doing, and there was still a few bugs. Even Case from the Netherlands ran into a bug with it today, but it seems to be doing a good job of just making sure that people aren't using vulgar or discriminating words here on the server, for example, and it's checking if someone is going to be spamming or doing some kind of like some kind of attack on the server, that it's able to pick up and stop this immediately. Humans are able to basically. The other thing that's very nice about the car bot is that basically also going to be able to make announcements on the server for us. So this also means like Mark, for example, doesn't have to be posting all the time and reminding other the next meeting, for example, because now Carlbot will be, for example, it will be giving a notification of all of to all of us now when the next meeting is going to be coming 2 days ahead of time, as well as 10 minutes before the meeting happens, as a friendly reminder. I mean, that doesn't say Mark doesn't have to do any of this stuff ever again, but this basically just loosens his shoulders up. And the idea is that then that gives Mark more free time to concentrate on material or some stuff he wants to share with us. So he doesn't have to worry about reminding all of us that we're going to have a meeting here on the server. And it's also not just for our it's not just like for the open assembly meetings, but this will also be for other people that have other meetings here on the server, or maybe even things that take place outside of Discord. I mean, it's just basically simplifying stuff for us, because we've been doing things so analog here on the server for a very long time, and some of us are just pooped out and exhausted, basically. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, and Carlbot is going to make some mistakes, and we ask all of you to either message the other admins or the other people in or the in the service and request channel if you run into any problem. The last thing I want to mention, and this is something that is concerning from Mark, is that while we've been very busy trying to get this bot together, we're getting this bot together, and we were all busy with other things. I've noticed a massive breach in the code of conduct, basically our rules of how we communicate on the server. And there have been a few users this past week that I found were basically neglecting our code of conduct and the way how we should be communicating and talking to people on the server. That was very disappointing, and I feel like that we have to be waiving the code of conduct a lot more, because people's mental health, and also that we are basically here in a safe space here on the server. Of course, we're going to be talking about some very deep mind subjects, and there's always going to be things that will be very very abstract or maybe emotional, but we have to be considerate about other people on the servers and not make personal attacks, and do things such as ad hominem or straw manning people with certain things we think that they are representing. So this is not just for us in Discord, but this is like for the entire movement, basically, that we need to be a little more considerate about other people, that, you know, the people also have feelings, and to be constantly using like very vulgar language and to be dissing people, it's not a part of the train of thought of this movement. It has to be spoken up and be addressed more. And I definitely too will be more vocal about come here on the server, amongst lots of other stuff. But yeah, that's basically the gist of what I wanted to announce, which was really important, was just this update that we finished the server maintenance, and that if anyone has any more ideas of what you can do to improve the server, again, any kind of suggestions for the bot, basically please share it in the request and the service and request channel here on Discord, so we can please make this a better place for everyone. So thank you, and I'm very sorry for the length I needed to for that I spoke for. Sorry again.
Thank you for all the work that you're doing, Cliff.
Yo.
So, does anybody else have a group task? So, does anybody else have a group task that they'd like to ask everybody to help them with in their initiative? For instance, like the one that Liberate Mankind asked us earlier. Something simple that everybody else can do in a matter of minutes. Okay, so I would just like to ask all of you to invite people to the assembly. Either the next assembly will be the let me look at the date. Sorry. The next assembly will be the 27th. The 27th, the Saturday 27th at 9 UTM. So that's in the morning for most of us. And so please invite people to that assembly. You can copy paste the call to the meeting with the notes, so that people can add an item that they'd like to talk about to it beforehand, which is preferable, and either to that one or to the next Wednesday meeting, which will be, it's always the second Wednesday of the month. So that will be the 10th of March. Okay, so that's the group task that I would like to ask all of you. And I think we're pretty much coming to the end. I think we pretty much touched all the main topics that we wanted to discuss. So I think, and unless anyone else has something that they'd like to ask the group for help with, we'll be able to start with the open floor, and maybe we want to, maybe Denise could start with her concerns about the bot. But first, I would like to, Denise, wait one moment. First, I would like to make sure if anybody has something that they'd like to ask the whole group for help with or support with?
Just I'll say that TZM Norway still needs some help with finding new people that can help maintain some stuff on its social media pages, and because also that for the strategy meeting that was to be planned perhaps later on this year, they definitely need some more help with that. Mark, I know you actually advertised that earlier from the last meeting, but the point still stands that we still are looking for any more people from Norway that can help with some Norwegian content and helping maintain the page.
Noted. I will add that again to the call to action.
Thank you.
Can I go ahead?
For me, yeah.
So that was Mark. Who was it that was talking about Norway? Sorry.
That was me. I was speaking about Norway.
Link. Okay, thank you, Link. I'm a bit confused because I'm not familiar with this site, so please forgive me. I did want to talk about the bot, but it's not the bot so much, even though I'm totally against it, but I can understand about spamming. However, what I'm against is that nobody else's opinion was arrived at or asked for, and this is how we have to go towards equality. We have to stay within a sort of like a bandwidth of equality and keep going back to that, because that is where our vibration is correct. It's on the proper standing. It's otherwise we go into a sort of like a static zone where we don't see things clearly. We are like a transmitter, and we're also like a receiver. We're actually frequencies. And we are reading each other from frequencies, but we're just not conscious of it. Once we become conscious of it, then we have got a greater ability to, I believe, to do things we can't even imagine right now. But anyway, I'll keep things to the matter, the level of matter. But we also have to understand that matter is only a subset of consciousness. So with that in the background, we've got to start living in a different way. And the way...
I know a
Sorry?
bunch of people that might disagree with you.
Yes, well, that's okay, and we should argue. We should argue and discuss all this. And I would love to do that. And I would love to have questions, and I'd love to answer them. And I am also would love to welcome my own eyes opening from different ways of looking at things. And this is how we must live in the new earth, when everybody is equal. And you know, like when we're conversing, there's a whole different way, a feminine way of conversing, where actually men are good at a lot of things, and women are good at other things, and those other things have not been valued in our culture, and so we haven't even got them in our consciousness at the moment. They're sort of they're underneath, and there's other consciousnesses that have intervened in our consciousness, and I believe we've been hacked. I believe that we are programmed, as well as other things, other levels that we don't even know of, that we should be talking about. But the idea that I want to get back to is the one about the bot, is that we must always ask the other people's opinion so that we get consensus. Otherwise, what happens is you've just got another bunch of people making decisions for everybody and not respecting equality. And this is underpinning everything that we do. I can't emphasize it enough. I hope you'll look out for it. Yes?
Pardon, but I want to ask, where did you get the idea that nobody was consented about putting a bot on the server?
Well, I wasn't asked. I didn't know about it. So if I wasn't asked, I would imagine there's a lot of people. Ask people on the call who were asked. Just the people on the call who even know about this bot. I didn't even hear about this bot. Now, I keep up to date with everything RBE, that RBE United at least, and maybe we're not communicating clearly enough to the other groups. Whatever it is, it's a good question, and we need to talk about everything that comes up. But who
pardon
did
me,
you ask?
did you? Isn't this the first time you're on the server right now?
Well, the first time I've been, look, I think I've been putting comments on. I've just been struggling with the Discord thing, and and I'm not really very familiar with it. So I have put comments everywhere. I put comments everywhere. I forget where, but on this particular call, yes, it's the first time, and the first time I've met everybody. But see, and I understand the time and everything, and I don't want to hog anything. But what I'm trying to say is that we have to change our complete way of thinking. And don't we all say that, though? Don't we all say we've got to have a complete change of thinking? We've got to have a complete different paradigm. Well, when you were talking about somebody who was a woman who was in Norway who was giving a talk, the way you practice femininity is in what you're doing right now, in what we're practicing right now, and how, there's different ways of speaking in conversation. The man's way is good too, and what we do is we have to kind of intertwine them. And we understand that you've put down the parameters of this discussion, and I understand that you've got a lot of things to think about because you coordinated it, and I respect you as the coordinator, and you've done work that I haven't done. So I will cede to your advice or something sometimes, but not always.
Sorry, Denise.
Yes, go ahead.
So,
always go ahead.
Thank you. So I fully support the bot for now. I sometimes got like a really long message that I wrote, and I put a swear and it was erased. That was back when the bot was first tried, and that was very frustrating. But I agree with keeping language trash talk out. Basically, I find the trash talk.
You might. Nobody else does.
Let me also
but
just
who else
say
does?
as well, Mark, is that basically the way how this bots that we program is for example, I want to also fill in Denise, since you're basically new here on the Discord server. We've spoken about having a bot here on the server for maybe 3 years now. And it's the only reason why we haven't had a bot on the server is because it's a lot of work. Personally, I'm a programmer. It's my background and career base. And I wasn't ready to program a bot, or even this bot is not something very complex, but it's just a lot of investing time and setting up basically. And one of the reasons, again, why this bot needs to come up is exactly what was going on with some things happening on the Discord server. Because the thing is that we have people here that moderate the server. Other than myself, Brandon is also one of those people.
Derlink, you've missed my point. You've missed my point, Derlink. You missed my point. I can understand that there's reasons for it. What I'm talking about is getting everybody else's views on it and making a proposal. And then, see, this is what I'm suggesting, and you're not aware of all this, and this is why I need to fill you in too about those things that I think could be the basis of something that I would like all of you to consider, all of you, and then we go ahead for going on that passage. So I'm challenging you as we go along.
Oh, RB United. I know. Who's the other people that you work with over there? You guys just formed that logo last year, around March, right?
Yes, we did. That's right.
RBE,
Yeah.
RB. Oh, wait. Oh, I forget the name of the radio station you just made.
Yes. Voice. I have got it.
I agree with the general idea, but it's a good idea to have for all the actions to first go through a proposal. And there was a time where we had a system for that. That what we did is that we would the idea was that we would set up a pad, an open pad, in which the proposal was presented, and then we allowed 2 weeks. Then it was presented in the news and development channel with a ping to everybody. And then we allowed 2 weeks for people to discuss it on that notepad. And then at the following assembly, it was approved or disproved. Now, I fully support, recommend doing that. On the other hand, I understand that there's what happens often in these situations is that a few people end up having to do all the work, and so it's best to try to give people as much slack as possible for them to work and progress as much as we can. And so, yeah, we kind of have to learn how to play with that as much as possible. Although I would recommend that that we use that system again for any change that affects everybody.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate you considering it. I really do. And let's see where we can go from there. Yeah, let's just start something, something different, and talk about it, and put it into the consciousness sphere, and have people thinking about it. I'm dying to send you this file, but I can't figure out. I can't figure out how to get the link, how to give you the link up to send a file. I'm just a little bit disoriented on this platform a bit.
There's a
Drag and drop it on the chat, and it should be able to upload.
Say again, please, Darlene.
Yes, if you take the file, you should be able to just hover it on top of the on one of the chat boxes, and then it should be able to work this way.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to remind those that made time to participate that we basically can consider the official part of the meeting over. So no one has to feel obliged to stay any longer, although everybody can stay and continue chatting as long as you like.
It's great. I'm just trying to send this. It's
Excuse me,
very
I have
rough.
some questions for.
Oh yes, go ahead, Joaquin. You wanted to speak. I forgot.
Yeah, he had some questions.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the organization. So, especially Mark, I think, and I don't know who else. But as a science-based group, it's been at least an attempt. There's been at least an attempt to direct the conversation in a scientifically organized way. Basically how academia circles do it. Okay, so that's it. For the link, by the way, link is because of the Zelda game?
It's actually my middle name.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, does the Discord platform, I'm new here too, I already said that. Does the Discord platform allow for bots to be programmed easily, or how was this task completed? I don't know.
So CarlBot is actually a relatively simple bot, but like all bots that you want to program, they require a very they require a big indulgence of time investment to basically straighten them out, because you can basically just do a half-assed job, basically, if I may say, and basically then you can have the bot basically just ban or kick or just basically disable everyone, or just like do things that it shouldn't be doing, that is basically against our good functionality here on the server, if you will. So that's why it takes a long time.
My question is, how do you do it? I mean, is that Discord provides this kind of service, or does it work?
Let me just explain fully so you understand, is that some bots are free. Then some of them have limited access, such as even CarlBot. And then the way how you program it is that there's usually there's usually something like a panel, like is what CarlBot also has this. So it has a panel that you have to log in via through Discord and third party, and from there you're able to as Woody said, is that it's you have to use a third party basically from another dashboard, and then from there you have to start programming it from there, and you can also put in additional codes and plugins and JavaScript, etc.
Okay, so it's really a programming task. It's not like it's not facilitated by the platform.
No.
Okay.
No, it's third party. So it was Carlbot was created in Python, and from that it was then basically adjusted to collaborate or to function with the as functionality here in Discord, basically.
Does it only work for the chat, or can it detect voice also?
From my understanding, it can. I think there is actually a part of it that can do voice kind of moderation, but I'm not 100% sure, because if you subscribe to the premium service of Carlbot, you're able to do even more with it than what we can currently do. And yeah.
Does it work in other platforms too, or is it specific for Discord?
I think it is only just designated for Discord at the moment. That's what I understand.
Okay, and last question regarding some comments from Denise. Who else did work on the bot, or you? I don't know.
No, it was me and Woody, who just joined us just a moment ago, and Yuso, were the admins of the server.
Okay, so there were at least 3 people that understood the problem and thought it was needed.
I mean, it wasn't just like we had Carlbot already on the server. We've had it perhaps for three years now on the server. But the problem is that, again, like I said, is that it's so time consuming to program it. It takes so long to get it to work where it doesn't interfere with our conversations and stuff on the server. So basically, it takes a lot of time, and then because of this, we disabled it from the server, or at least we had it just working for doing minimal stuff for us. And then recently, like for example, where we noticed that all the moderators are extremely busy at times, or there's maybe some kind of disruption on the server. So like if Mark or whoever was having an issue and there wasn't any moderator there and he was being attacked, or someone else is being attacked, and they're using especially like very harsh language and demeaning words, which are also things that are programmed into Carlbot to detect, that it will detect very vulgar and vile attacks against people. It will react and warn the people that they need to basically cool down. And if they don't, after 3 warnings, that they get muted, so they can no longer post anything until a moderator or admin can come on and check what's going on, basically.
Well, that's censorship. That's censorship. Okay, just so you know, that's censorship. So you are censors, and you're actually, feeding the whole censorship paradigm. Now, what were you scared of? If you a vulgar word, just ignore them. Just ignore them. I have trolls on my threads all the time. I think we ought to welcome them, and so that we can change their minds. Sorry.
It's not that simple. I mean, a group of spammers can really break up the conversation, make it impossible to communicate. Let me ask one more question.
Yes, well, okay, but censoring them is not necessarily the way. What else do you do before you censor them? You talk to them. You just talk to them. Now, you can't just get rid of people just because they're inconvenient. I mean, you can tell, you can either ignore them or figure out another way. This is how we evolve. This is how we can't be using GPS systems to get better at finding our direction.
Yes, I understand. I understand Denise's point, but you must understand too, Denise, that we are a science-based group, and science mostly runs on censorship, as you put it, because they do not allow, for example, studies that do not comply with certain requisites, So
yes, and that's why we don't have free energy. That's why we don't have free energy, because it runs on the supremacy.
Okay.
Joaquin, please finish.
Yes, my last question is, if I would like to know what the bot does, can I access the code some way, or I don't know?
Well, not necessarily from us directly, but I recommend just going to maybe on a search engine, looking up Carlobot, and basically Carlobot Discord, and you should be able to see. I don't think it's open source, so yeah, basically,
I mean, so the Carlobot, you didn't make it from scratch. It was already like
no, no
Okay.
way, no way. That we wouldn't even be talking about a bot right now if I was a single person, perhaps.
No,
I don't know.
Maybe you took some code from here and there. I don't know. I'm not a programmer. But the point is, if I would like to know what features of the bot are on, turned off, on or off, how would I go our bot, like our Carlbot?
So I'm sorry, Joaquin, I didn't understand the question. So how do you go to our Carlbot here?
Yeah, because our Carlbot have some special features turned on or off that other bots might not, right?
Correct. But what it has activated, I mean, basically, I think you can even try and talk to it. You can basically like ask like help, for example, like exclamation mark help, and I think it'll be able to interact with any user on the server. I think so. That I'm not certain. But then basically the other thing is that what Carlobot's main job is to do. It's just basically trying to to basically keep the server like in check with like moderating like content and stuff and preventing spam. So I mean, it's operational always in that regard. But we had that functionality turned off for a while because again, it was just taking us too long to figure out how to make it work.
Okay, can you write down in the chat maybe some link to know more about Carlbots?
Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
You can have them even PM you if you would like.
What would be that?
What's that?
What that would be?
Personal message.
Yeah, sales. We can have Carlbot send you a personal message.
Sure. I just want more information to know, how the things are programmed and what can they do and not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically it's a fun little thing, and again, it just kind of like liberates us a little bit because I mean, let's be honest here. Why are we here on this program Discord right now? Why aren't we just like writing in some archaic alphabet some letters and passing this entire conversation to people to send on telegrams over ships or whatever, having birds fly from Europe to North America or something? I mean, it's
Yeah, I think one thing that people don't realize is that there are like people can be literally have bad intentions, and they can really disrupt the server. A couple people or one person with multiple accounts can really disrupt the server if they want to, if that's their goal. And so it's important to have some sort of protection against that.
Well, Mark, everything that's taken off, what happens? What does the bot do? Does it take off the comments? What does it do with the comments?
Well, the comments, what happens is though, like, let's say if someone uses a vulgar term, like just so everyone gets what I'm saying, like if someone literally says on the server, fuck you or asshole, or use some kinds of like very discriminative term, whatever. I made enough of an example. Basically, like Carlbot will immediately pick this up, and it's going to send a warning to. It is going to delete the message so it's not visible on the server, but it's going to send a warning back to that user that they use this word, and this is basically they shouldn't be using this, and it's an aggressive
But that's mind control. But that's mind control, Dilink. I mean, how can you justify such things?
sorry, may I have to ask you, are you fine with somebody using very vulgar and derivative and very maybe offensive terms
Yes,
personally towards you?
I'm fine for all speech, and I'm not scared of speech. It's just words on a fucking screen. Well, how ridiculous! I mean, we don't need babysitters, okay? Equality means we're not babysitters for each other, and I'm talking to you as an equal.
Joaquin?
Can I jump? Can Playtard jump in?
Anybody can jump in. That's the male. The male's way of talking is you need permission. No, when somebody has something to say, just say it, and we have to encourage other people to speak too. I just think when somebody starts speaking, then stop like this.
But let's be a little bit considerate, because we all want to speak, and it's not good if we're all talking over against each other all the time.
That's stilted conversation. So of course we give each other a chance to speak, but speaking isn't like that. It's not in the block style. That's the male style, the block style. I'm trying to explain this to you, and there's a different way of speaking, and when somebody has something to say, then speak, instead of always thinking you've got to rush because somebody might have something to say. When somebody says something, I stop talking. I
have something to say.
Okay, then fine. Then Playtard, please.
Okay, so right now we're discussing a chatbot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're discussing a chatbot for Discord for the TZM chat. That will filter out and alert people if they use foul language. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a certain. This is not a binary, sort of issue here. There's a certain degree, a spectrum, if you will, of acceptable foul language, and this is where the differentiation becomes. Is the speech violent? Is it repetitively, unnecessarily, vexatious or abusive? Is the person trolling or spamming, or have they just used the word fuck or shit a lot because they like to fucking cuss a lot, and I like to fucking cuss about shit all the time because it's fucking fun. So there's a difference. There's a differentiation that needs to be set. So I don't know if within the parameters of the chatbot, is there an option to say, you get 3 strikes or 4 strikes, and then you start becoming alerted to the language?
I'd like to address that. The thing is, why do we even care? I mean, somebody's got to make a decision. If somebody's got to make a decision, it should be everybody, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It shouldn't just be a small group who decides.
Okay.
Well, here I would like to throw something in case if no one, for example, if Denise is perhaps not aware of it since you weren't on the server, or perhaps a lot of other people back 2.5 years ago. But basically, we did have a point here on the server where we let things go amok. And Mark also remembers it when we had a certain user here on this platform that basically said and did whatever they wanted. They said the word fuck. They called you a piece of shit. They called you someone that doesn't understand the movement. They called you a nimwit, and basically did whatever they wanted, and basically created the atmosphere so toxic on the server. That's when we started to see a huge spiraling dump of activity here on the server. And it was impossible for any of us to even speak our minds, even if you had a very intelligible or intelligent reply or something smart to say to this person that was being very toxic on the server. You couldn't, because that other person, the other person there on the server was just typing 24/7 nonstop, as if they were like taking some kind of a supplement that they wouldn't go to sleep. It was insane, and our whole slammed. And that's when we basically had to come up with this idea with what we have, along with some other issues in the movement, with a code of conduct that basically we have to be considerate of the environment that we have on here. Because if we don't, we're basically just crapping in our living room, to say the least. and nobody's going to want to live in it.
Well,
So
I'm not
that-
saying that we do that, Dilink, but what I'm suggesting is that there's other ways of dealing with it. That's all. And the other way of dealing with it is this: you put a proposal to the membership, and you say, okay, this is how we're going to do everything in the future. We're going to do it as equals, even in families. This is going to be the system, because it makes sense. And what you do is you make a proposal. And you say, we've been having trouble with these spammers or these rude, vulgar people. They're making it uncomfortable for us, and we'd like to whatever you suggest you'd want to do to them, and you put it to the membership and give it a time for discussion and get some feedback, because that's what equals do. And then you tell them, when you put this proposal up, you give a date of when the discussion period ends. And when the discussion period ends, then you put the proposal, you think about all the things that the input that was put in, and then you put the proposal out as a revised proposal that goes to the vote to the membership. And something like an 80%, it's got to be a very high proportion of the membership. Once we have to all talk about that, what that's nobody makes any unilateral decisions like that. It goes to the membership, to the people who it's going to involve, who it's going to, and that way we care about the other people. I don't mind having vulgar people, and I want to hear what everybody's got to say, because sometimes vulgar people say good things. See, the breakthroughs don't come where we think they are. Yes?
But the thing is that I want to understand. I mean, maybe you're just basically expressing your input on how we should do this, but without very much bureaucracy. Basically, we had a vote all over the movement. How do we want to be? How do we want to be going forward? Basically, with having people that basically speak over other people or try to basically dominate conversations, and also have no problem using very vulgar terms towards other people. And the vote was basically made very simple by those that still continue to be here on the server, or whether on social media, that they can't bear and tolerate it. They don't feel like that they're a part of something. There's rather someone standing on top of them, trying to take over or whatnot.
Yes,
So,
because
I mean,
people can try and spoil it. That they can. There are people who are spoilers like that, and I agree. And how do we deal with it? But I'd like to know how we deal with it, other than censoring them, and because that's the only thing that the only solution. Let's just think of another solution of how we deal with it. And I'm just saying, it doesn't matter how we deal with it. It's how we deal with it is how we deal with each other. What do others think? Like, I agree with you. If there's somebody, but we handle it as it comes up, not overall.
Playtarts, please.
Okay,
no, you
so
can always talk. Yeah, of course, everybody can always talk.
can I talk now? Okay, thank you. Okay, so there's we're talking about different styles of speech, and if it's offensive or toxic speech, and I mean, Denise has put forth the trying to say that we shouldn't be censoring anybody. However, to a certain degree, we do need to.
No, that's not what I said. No, I didn't really say that. I said without getting other people's opinion. But keep going.
Okay, so here at TZM and on chat and on Discord, we need to be here and we need to be discussing, our topics in. I mean, sure, it's basically an argument forum, of course, but we can't host time wasting or toxic, topics or ideas, or people who just steamroll over conversations.
That's very subjective.
Excuse me. I think it's actually more profound than that.
Now, I'm not done yet. So
no, please continue,
okay, so basically, I mean, you need to be able to identify, first of all, the community at large. If we're sitting in a chat room of like 10 or 15 people right now, and if someone comes in and they start making, aberrant conversation or conversation that is disturbing the community, then as a community as a whole, they can, will pipe up and say, come on, let us speak. However, if that person continues to be a disruption, then it's sort of there's no real need to go through any sort of tribunal or process of muting or censoring the person, because the person is not being valuable to the conversation. Hence the need to censor some people. You know, I mean, we can't just go around letting QAnon into our conversations because they have something to say. Everything they say is garbage. So it's not like,
you know, the trouble is, and that's something that you can see from the behaviour of the person. So it does take a little bit of time to ascertain. But what I'm saying is that I feel that way about people too. But what I'm saying is, rather than a small group of people deciding what is not speech that should be removed, it should be, should we remove this person? We should, you know, what does everybody else think? Because I'm telling you, I've never been asked that. It's always just a stipulation for any group, and I think that that is not the way we need to be going.
Plato, were you finished?
sort of. I mean, I was just trying to illustrate the fact that to a certain point you do need to censor people, because I mean, it's just you're just wasting time and you know, the headspace of everyone else.
Well, you have to get other people's opinion though, because you've got to, what you got to do is say,
are you going to sit here and take a QAnoner's opinion or a flat earther's opinion? You're going to listen to them for 10 or 20 minutes. You're going to listen to how they think.
I'm saying if other people don't want to listen to it too, you might not want to, but others might.
You're going to sit here and you're going to vouch for people to try and tell you that the world is flat. That's what you're going to do, Denise?
No,
it's not.
Can I just say answer that? Can I just answer that? I don't like it either. I don't want to listen to people talk about religion and stuff like that. But I still have to listen. I don't want to talk about this subject because I'm way past it. But I'm still talking about it because I want to broaden the ideas that people base this whole stupid society on. Is those ideas that we are not capable of deciding together. Well, that if you make that decision, you're making it for other people, and other people they might have not heard about QAnon, or they might want to know what that person thinks about it. Why must we have these subject taboos? And if somebody comes on that say talks about something like religion, I would say to them, look, I don't believe in that stuff. I'd let them know, and I'd say it's a bunch of nonsense, and I'd argue about what I see, and to get them to change their minds. And this is how we learn to coexist.
Denise, I have to say that I fully agree with not censoring subjects. I'm very concerned about that direction. But I other than that, I agreed with what Playtard said.
Idea. What do you all say? I mean, I think Bayern Mook and the others would be for that. I think that'd be really cool.
Gonna ask Liberate Mankind if he could speak on some of the policy that you guys are pushing over there or focusing on.
Yeah, please speak.
Liberate? Oh, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear him?
No, Mike's off.
Well,
sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I appreciate the invitation. Thank you very much. I'd actually say I'm not sure I can be concise and coherent off the cuff, if that makes any sense. What I'd much, while I've got the floor, what I'd actually much rather speak to you about is what the glass bead game is and how you might employ it in these sessions so that they might be more productive. The glass bead game is a really, really, really cool thing. It's super fucking simple, and it transforms rooms like this where you've got a dozen people, 15 people, whatever. And you know what? It almost always ends up happening, unless there are some kind of constraints, is that 2 or 3 people get involved in a conversation and everyone else just sits there and listens to that conversation, and it's non-participatory for the majority of the people in the room. And so what the glass bead game does is it just imposes a little bit of structure and constraint on the room. And so you set it up, I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. It's complete, you can do absolutely whatever you want with it. The only thing that is a rule is the turn. Players take turns, right? And so you set the clock to say 1 minute turns or 2 minute turns or whatever it might be, and you agree on an order, and then you go around people in the room in that order, and they have up to 1 minute or up to 2 minutes or whatever to speak, and then they have to shut up and they have to let the next person speak. And if the next person has nothing to say, then they can pass their turn, right? And it just goes round and round and round. Everybody who wants to get a chance to speak, and you're going to not get interrupted for that 1 minute or 2 minutes. The floor is yours, and you can say absolutely what you want to say. And then you have to shut up and listen to what other people have to say. Everyone gets a chance to speak. And then what happens? A few things happen. Firstly, what again?
Go ahead, Denise.
Yeah, keep going.
But yeah, no, a few things happen. First, as a consequence of this game, that which actually wishes to be spoken about in the session emerges from the game, right? It emerges naturally from the game, and that becomes then the focus of the thing. It's not that you don't have an agenda that you want to go through and you go through that, but for the body of the conversational part. And the other thing is as well that by playing this game regularly, and you can bring this into your life, your friends, your family, by playing this game regularly, it starts to discipline you in your conversation. And so you speak succinctly and concisely. You don't waffle. You don't repeat yourself. You make room for other people. So do you know what I mean? And it disciplines you throughout your life. It's an incredibly powerful, simple protocol. That's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to address that. I think that has its place in
people in a room is not a natural way to talk, right? And so one has to devise methodologies.
Well, I haven't finished saying what. Maybe if you'd listen to the rest of what I say.
This is what you were doing to everyone all of the time. I just thought I would give you medicine. I won't do it anymore. I will now listen to you.
Oh no, you can keep. It's okay. I can handle you. But what I'm trying to say is, so far, I'm the only woman that's spoken in the whole meeting, and I notice this happens a lot. And men don't invite other women to speak, and now it would be nice because our whole world is patriarchal, and we don't even realize it. And so it would be just nice if when you see a lot of males talking, which happens all the time, because males are used to seeing themselves as leaders and as talkers and as speakers and as preachers and people telling us things and teaching us things, but women have a lot to teach as well. So, there's a different style I would prefer than what you're saying, but I think that if people agree to that style, I think they should go for it. And we're not all going to be the same, and maybe we can split it up in styles, and so that yeah.
Yeah, I think there's different approaches to things. It's not this or that, but yeah.
We can fit everybody in. That's what we've got to try and accommodate. And it doesn't, like some people have got nothing to say. Yeah.
Sorry, I just remember what I was going to say. I mean, you said women haven't been invited to speak. Weren't you just saying a while ago that kind of roasting people for saying that, can I speak? Saying that we shouldn't have to, have like that kind of like ask for permission, And everyone's welcome to speak here. I hope women and men and people who beyond the gender stuff, anyone is welcome to speak, obviously.
Well, that's not really with awareness of what women have gone through, and something I've studied. I know that not many people know about this subject. It's not even considered. It's not talked about, and what everything I've said has been it hasn't been completely disregarded, but it's gone on to the more building things, because that's what men talk about. And if you listen to a recording of this, and it should be recorded, all our conversations should be recorded. But if you listen to a recording of this, you'll see that only men have spoken, except for myself. And I don't want to hog anything. What I'm trying to do is, this is in action, showing you and everybody how there's different ways of speaking that we've never even questioned. We've stuck by these things called Robert's rules and rules in general. But if we have conventions is what we've got to try and think in terms of. And if anybody wants to speak, I welcome them to speak. When they speak, I will go to the nearest stop and accommodate them, because I want to hear what they've got to say at that time, because that's how conversations are. They're kind of on the spot, you know, because that's what nature is. That's what's organic. And what we've done, mankind on its own, just mankind, has dictated the terms of agreement. And we've got to hear now a bit more of the feminine. And I do appreciate you all, by the way. I think you're doing a tremendous job in many ways.
So
but I was a bit peeved that you blocked me.
What were the exact rules again? Liberate mankind. It's basically just
Oh yeah, liberate. What's the basic model again? Can you run down for us again?
I mean, it is as simple as I described it before. So it is literally players. The only rule is that players take turns. I mean, when we play, I play in a couple of groups regularly, right? And when we play, we usually play on pretty abstract topics, you know, like death and pain and loss and cosmos and life and birth and this kind of stuff, right? You know, really abstract stuff we play on. But the idea is to generate group coherence and group access to a larger comes out in the interplay that doesn't come out in normal conversation. It is, as Denise said, it's very structured. It's quite rigidly structured. It's not like a normal conversation. It's not intended to replace all conversation in all sessions, right? That's not the point of it. The point of it is to, you know, you play it for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, maybe half an hour with this many people in the room, maybe for half an hour. And in that half an hour, everyone gets a chance to say what's on their mind. Ideas emerge from the course of playing the game. And then when you enter into the discussion, everyone's really engaged because they've all participated in the creation of what the open discussion is about. And because of the structure that's been imposed by the game, people are much more conscious of not hogging the floor, which I already feel like I'm doing. So I'll stop talking there.
Yeah, Magni and Boudica want to speak. I sort of, to summarize real quickly, I sort of felt like it was like I'm doing exactly what I should be doing, which is replying. Like it's like to not reply to each other instead of just letting others speak. It sounds like.
Yeah, Afra Miss Miori Magni.
Hi guys. I have a bit of a cough right now, so I can't speak that clearly. But the way I see these meetings is that we have a document which we add to beforehand, and we can kind of say what topics we want to speak about. This is a meeting. This is not a free chat zone. That's what I thought. You are free to chat in the chat itself while the conversations are going. If you want to set up a free chat over voice to talk about anything and anything, then you can do that. I don't think that we need to give everyone a voice to speak in this thing. Like, if you have something to say, write down in the chat, I would like to speak on this matter, and we'll go about it formally. It is not a masculine thing.
Well, Magna, I disagree, because this is what happens when you do things like that. When something comes up, see, breakthroughs don't come in a linear fashion. They don't come on schedule.
I'm not interested in breakthroughs right now, okay?
I'm sorry?
This is a personal
What was that?
meeting. This isn't about breakthroughs. This is a personal meeting space for each individual to share what they're doing in their lives to help the movement take place. Okay? I think you're confused about what this meeting is.
No, I know exactly what this meeting is, Magna. I've been an activist for many years, my dear, and I've been through a lot of things, but this is a meeting for changing. I see this as people who want to actually live in a world in a different way. Now, we have technology and we have buildings and we have villages and we have eco villages and we have all these things, but what they don't understand the fundamentals, and at least we're talking about the fundamentals. And it's not something you can do in a soundbite. It's just something that we have to open the discussions with. And this is what actually the hunger, the philosophical part is the part that people hunger for. And we need to offer that.
Yeah, I understand that. And what I'm speaking about is not the movement itself. I'm talking about like the scheduled meeting that we're having right now is actually for people to share their individual updates each week or each month. And we can create our own meetings where we say like, oh, let's organize a meeting on Sunday at this time. And everyone that just wants to talk about like what we need to be doing more of, or what we need to speak more about or bring awareness to, that can be done in a different zone. But this meeting is kind of like that, but it's a more of a personal experience of projects. Like people want to know what Link's doing in relation to, you know, some project that he mentioned last week. And we only have a small amount of time to speak about those specific projects. But it's not like we're saying, oh, you can't talk about this and that. It's just that everything has a time and place. And if people want to come to the time and place where you want to talk about those certain things, I'm sure a lot of people do. But this specific time and meeting is designed for a few topics that we have written in a document beforehand.
Yes, but
so that's where the
what
confusion
no, there's no confusion. What I'm talking about is the thing that underlies the projects. I do projects, I can speak on those as well. But the thing that I want to get through is what I hear, and what underlies the projects is the attitude. And the attitude has. Now, if we want a paradigm change, don't you think that we need to have a change in our very fundamental beliefs? And also, Magna, as a woman, and this is something I've studied, we're always disadvantaged, and it's good to hear that another woman's speaking. I look at things like that, and why should somebody? And I can understand the meaning of this meeting and of all the meetings, but if you're too rigid, you know, if we're just denying the philosophy behind everything, and what I see is patriarchy being committed, but it's so involved, and it's so involved in our culture, and I'm having a hard time trying to get through. And I'm not trying to hog anything. It's just that this subject is so desperately needed, because it's at the basis of a new society, because the old society kept women out.
So,
and I'm not saying, yeah, what?
I agree that there are a lot of things that we have to improve and work on in this transition. And part of that is learning new behaviors. And these are sometimes very ingrained in in us in a way that we don't perceive it. And sometimes the differences in appropriate behavior and inappropriate behavior are like very slight, and quickly things can fall out of place or seem out of place when they're not really. They're just well, one example is that, for instance, here in Catalonia, we speak over each other a lot. It's very, very common, but that is something the Germans can't tolerate. Mostly, I'm not saying all of them, but the ones that I know, when I've been there, I have family that live there. They don't do that at all, and so there are certain things like that are just general, like ways of. It's like, I don't know how to say it, but they're very slight differences of behavior that can make it so that people don't actually they can't really, it's hard for them to get along, and they perceive the others as being problematic or not wanting to collaborate, when it's just, they're just different. They're different styles. There's another, I really like, so I find that we tend to often enter in debates. It's a type of conversation that we are very used to, and I consider it very conflictive. And I see part of the transition learning how to practice a type of. I see part of the transition learning how to speak always in a yes and reply, which is very difficult at first, and we're mental exercise. And I recommend you all work to try to do that, which is just that every time that we reply, even if we disagree, see first, like see the person at where they are at, and then build on that.
Yeah.
And the simple way of doing that is saying yes and.
I feel that a lot of people that are drawn to movements like this, it's so easy to take your frustration, your anger, and your fear about, we all have a very like wacky, wide perspective to even be here. And we have experienced a lot of pushback, all of us in our lives. So when we get here, we kind of feel like, like we got our guard up, like, I'm so like frustrated. I want to talk about all these things. No one in my life hears me, takes me seriously, stuff like that. And we have to realize that everyone here has been through that, and we're family here, and we all share the same thing, which is that we want to make the world better. So we need to talk to each other as like respectful, happy, loving colleagues. We can't debate with each other aggressively, I think, because it's just counterproductive. We need to focus on what we are doing.
Well, I think that if we're individuals and if we think that we are individuals, we're all going to have different opinions. We are unique. And so we're going to have different opinions. And we need to have make the conditions right for being able to express our individuality. Now, some people are brash and some people are silent and some people are shy, and I used to be very shy, actually, believe it or not, but I would like to encourage people who feel that they can't speak and invite them and make a special invitation to the people who are not, say, joining on the conversation. And this is as I've learned that through being a woman, and I think it would be lovely if men started noticing the imbalances of speakers, and if maybe I would like to see the men invite women to say, hey, it's been men talking all the time, and how about what do the women think? And then it's up to the women, though, to come up to speed and sort of, but you don't always have something to say about that particular thing, and that's okay too. And so that's why it's important to be more fluid, more like water, than like concrete. And there's some requirement for structure, but structure requires also that satisfies the need for control, and we've got to be observant that we're not trying to control. And I'm not seceding to the consensus, because I also know that the consensus is not always right, and to embrace our individuality, we need to have systems that do that. And this proposal system is the simplest thing that I can think of. And I'd love to hear if anybody has any other things to better it. But really, this is something that people can do from the minute that they're born, and we have to learn and demonstrate what equality is. We have to demonstrate it. We have to be the model. We have to be the model. Yeah.
I just don't think we can propose every little matter to the whole global community. There's certain people in certain positions that are trusted and have been there for years and years and years and do their jobs well and actually serve the community. It's not a hierarchy. It's actually the other way around. If you think about it, a lot of times people serve the greater community with a lot of work. There's no pay. There's obviously no reward. But other than the social change, obviously, which is why we do it, obviously. But it's not realistic to think that we are just going to pass every little matter onto the whole global community and peer review everything and scientific consensus, every little thing. No, some people come into the movement and want to hold it to that higher scientific integrity standard, but it's just not realistic at this point. We're just a grassroots organic movement bumping along here, and we have certain people in place and groups that work together, and those people should just let it rip and trust each other and should self-correct, and should problems arise, then we sort it out like rational people that can just intuit things and not have to just pass it on to some whole global community, some democratic process. This is not realistic at this point. We have so much more communication ideas to elevate out into the world that takes far more priority. And most of all, I trust the people, and I'm willing to live with a little bit of consequences that comes with having a bot or not having total, pure consensus, as it were. But I do want to also hear about the moneyless, the money-free party, rather. I was thinking about the moneyless society stuff, but money-free party. And just, I don't know if there's anything else you could tell us about what's going on over there with that. You're trying to start a party, or?
Well, that just sounded Like you discounted
Okay,
me, but
I'm
anyway,
sorry.
I just want to
Go
put that
ahead. You can counter. Let's not move on until you counter. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, you're making decisions for everybody, but anyway,
Oh my
I'm
god.
just pointing it out. That's all.
Well, go ahead. I want to hear. Did you have a counter, or do you agree?
See, there's a pressure that I can't speak, and I feel this pressure because if somebody, if you know, we can't keep asking. If somebody does, just tell me to shut up, and then I'll answer. It doesn't mean that I will shut up. You know, but I can't go. We all can't be going on what ifs. If somebody has something to speak, and see, that's how unnatural our society is. It's always planned and scheduled, and you know, I don't want to speak over the gentleman I think who was going to talk next, but and I don't want to do that. But you know, the thing is, I'm trying to get a new way of thinking across to you, and I don't think it's going to happen right away. But I trust you people to think about it.
I mean, we're with you on it. I mean, we do need a new type of thinking. We do need to treat each other differently. We do need to stop seeing each other as, you know, races and classes and genders and like get beyond all that freaking crap. It's obviously we're right there with you, but
I don't think anyone in this chat room here has, if any, very little, you know, racism or bigotry or even bias, you know, that they would use on a day-to-day basis. I think it would be a fairly safe assertion to say that the people in this chat room are largely free of those problems. That the bias and racism and bigotry is just not a part of their operating system. It's just
have you done a survey?
Denise, I personally think that what you're experiencing is your own trauma in this situation. Because
and now you're getting personal. Now that's getting personal. That's getting personal. Now you don't know. I've had no trauma in my life, darling. I've had no trauma. What trauma are you referring to? Come on, speak from reality. Don't just make ridiculous assumptions and accusations. I know I make people feel uncomfortable because I speak the truth and reality. You know. So, but don't start getting personal about my trauma. I haven't had any trauma. I've never been raped.
Well, I have experienced it, but I am.
Then maybe you're speaking from your trauma. Yeah.
I'm just want everyone to talk freely, you know, and not feel that if we're men and women, it's an issue here. And I don't want you to get affected by other people. Can we all just not be affected by other people? Can we just interact as a
in
group?
fairyland we can, but in the real world we are affected by each other, and in the real world we do have biases, and if we had a good world, if we had an honest world, we would be free.
Control here, okay, and not let your emotions take over.
I think what we have to learn, we all have to learn how to not need to reply to everyone. Like when there's something that we disagree with, we don't have to necessarily reply. You know, we can just sit on that disagreement and let it.
Well, then they'll have you wearing masks and getting jabs. I mean, if you don't reply to people, will think that what they're thinking. There's not what's the difference? What's the problem with replying? Why is that so taboo?
Because you're dominating the whole conversation here. Because you're replying to what everyone says.
Yes.
And I just want to real quick though. I really disapprove I really disapprove of how you ridiculed something Boudica said, and that, in my opinion, that is against the rules of the server, and I will ask to have you silenced if you do that again. Okay, personally.
Who are you?
I'm just one more person here, but I just want to say that
I go by my name. My name is Denise Ward, and I think you should ask everybody instead of making a unilateral decision, whoever you are. Because you could be using activist energy
for myself, and I made that very clear.
Do you hear anyone speaking up on your behalf and agreeing with you, Denise? Because that's what the room is silent when you speak. And the people who talk are an objection to you because we don't feel comfortable with how you're taking this conversation forward. If anyone does feel comfortable with what you're saying, they would speak up about it and back you up.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing but consistent contrarianism from you Denise, for the past like 20 minutes. You know, I mean, sure. Okay, it's over. So let's talk about something else. You know, what are the main topics coming up on the event?